Hari Om, Namaste everyone. Welcome to day 61 of 108 days of Surya Namaskara or Sun Salutations Challenge. And like every day, today also, first we will complete our asana practice, the 12 asanas in the Sun Salutations. And if you haven't watched or you are not familiar with the 12 asanas, the names in Sanskrit and English, in the Sun Salutations, here is a video that you can take a look in the iCard and you will get to know the names. Now, moving forward, regarding after the class, the philosophy part of it, we will continue our discussion from what we were doing yesterday. Now, yesterday, I mentioned the fifth limb is dhyāna, but actually it's the sixth one. Fifth limb means what we will be discussing today is Pratyāhāra. Pratyāhāra, withdrawal of the senses, which is again one aspect of doing from our side, from the practitioner's side. Sixth, seventh and eighth become subtler, as if we are reaping the benefits of the first five. So today, in the fifth limb of yoga, that is the Pratyāhāra, we will be completing the doing aspect of from the practitioner's point of view. The other thing will be a consequence of the first five. So stay tuned until the end for the discussion on Pratyāhāra. And for now, let's get on the mat, move our bodies and let our energy flow physically. Everything is here stuck. But if we move the body, if we let the energy flow freely, many things clear up just like that. Let's get onto the mat. Now, in this yoga philosophy discussion session, we will be discussing the fifth of the 8 limbs of Ashtanga yoga, and that is Pratyāhāra. Pratyahara means withdrawal of the senses from the sensory organs. Now, first of all, what are the 5 senses? Chakshu, eyes; karna, the ears; nasika, the nose; jihva, the tongue; and the tvak, the skin. These are the 5 sensory organs which are gateways for our transaction with this materialistic world, of this panchabhautik world. What are the sense objects corresponding to these sense organs? So chakshu means the beautiful sights that we see, or whatever we see, right? Then karna, ears, beautiful sounds that we hear. Nasika, the beautiful smell that we take smell of, fragrance of, right? Jihva, the tongue, which is the rasanendriya, the things that we taste with our tongue, the food and all that we taste, right? And the final thing is tvak, the skin, through which we feel the perception of touch. Now, before we move on to Pratyahara, I should here mention that yesterday I mentioned that in Sutra number 52, Mahārshi Patanjali finishes about pranayama, which is actually not quite right, because in Sutra number 53 itself, Mahārshi Patanjali talks about another effect, what happens when somebody starts gaining mastery over their breathing, inhalation, exhalation, and playing with it. That is mentioned in Sutra number 53 of 2nd chapter, Sadhana Pada. Mahārshi Patanjali mentions, once one gains mastery over pranayama, dhāraṇāsu cha yogyata manasaha, then the mind gets fit for one-pointed focus or deep concentration. Okay, for dhyāna that is coming up. But as we know, the previous limbs, I already mentioned, previous limbs are preparatory steps for the subtler limbs, which are the 6th, 7th, and 8th. So dhyāna is the 6th limb. So Mahārshi Patanjali mentions clearly that in 52 I mentioned, tataha kshiyate prakashavaranam, then the veil on the inner light gets weakened, right? That was the effect of mastering pranayama. The other one, the next sutra talks about dhāraṇāsu cha yogyata manasaha, the mind gets fit for one-pointed focus. One-pointed focus. Okay, having said that, the last 2 sutras of 2nd chapter Sadhana Pada talks about Pratyahara. 54th and the 55th sutra, what are they? Let's learn. So 54th sutra is a definition of Pratyahara. What is it? Swa vishaya samprayoge, swa vishaya samprayoge chittasya swarupanukara ivendriyanam pratyaharaha. Swa vishaya samprayoge chittasya swarupanukara ivendriyanam pratyaharaha. Swa vishaya samprayoge chittasya swarupanukara ivendriyanam pratyaharaha. Pratyahara, the withdrawal from the sense objects, occurs when the sensory organs do not get attached to it, and as if the indriyas are assuming the form of the mind itself, meaning the mind is not attaching with the indriyas. Why do our indriyas work? Our indriyas work, karmendriya ya fir jnanendriya, the sensory organs or the organs of action, they work because our mind is attached to them, right? If that's why mind is called ubhayendriya, it connects to both. If our mind is not functioning, if we are withdrawing actually the mind, restraining the mind by using our discrimination or buddhi, then the sensory organs will have no function. I can look at you right this straight, but I am thinking of something else. So I am seeing, but I am not watching. I can listen, I can hear what you are saying, but I have no idea what you are talking about. So I am hearing but not listening to. Okay, so like that, our mind, whenever the mind is attached, then only our sensory organs are consuming the subjects, consuming the interactions, the transactions, or the stimulus from outside world. So Pratyahara, withdrawal from sense objects, occurs when the senses do not come into contact with their respective sensory objects. Now it corresponds, as it were, to the nature of the mind. It corresponds to, as if it were, the nature of the mind, meaning when the mind is not attached to the sensory organs, the mind is just by itself. So it retreats back. The sensory organs retreats back, holds back from connecting to the sensory objects. That's called Pratyahara. What happens if the Pratyahara happens? If a practitioner, if a yogi is on the path of Pratyahara, the next sutra, the very last sutra, sutra number 55, the last sutra of second chapter, Sadhana Pada, talks about it. It says, Tatah parama vashyatendriyanam. Tatah parama vashyata indriyanam. Tatah parama vashyatendriyanam. Tatah parama vashyatendriyanam. If I break it up, Tatah parama vashyata indriyanam means then, consequently, for that matter, like if the Pratyahara happens, the yogi, the practitioner, gets ultimate mastery, parama vashyata indriyanam, ultimate mastery over the sense organs. Okay, so from this comes the highest control of the senses. From this meaning, from the Pratyahara, from practicing Pratyahara, the yogi, the practitioner, gains the highest mastery over their sensory organs. So that was our discussion on the fifth limb of Ashtanga Yoga, which is the Pratyahara. Okay, and next we move on to the subtler aspects of the Ashtanga Yoga, the limbs of dhyāna, dhyāna and samādhi. Let's see how far we can cover and in what depth we can cover in our coming sessions, but definitely we will talk about those. Thank you so much. With that, I want to wrap up this 61st session of 108 days of Surya Namaskara or Sun Salutations Challenge. I thank you from the bottom of my heart for joining me on this path, on this journey. And if you are enjoying these videos, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button and the bell notification icon so that you don't miss a single video that I publish or a live stream that I hold for you guys. And if you want to know something specific, if you want to share some thoughts, some ideas, some feedback, please feel free to comment in the comment sections of any of the videos in the series. By the way, if you are wondering where the other videos are, you can find the other videos in this playlist here that's showing up in the iCard, where you can go and watch all the videos starting from day 1 up to day 61. We have come a long way, guys, and we still have quite some way to go. Thank you so much once again, and I really appreciate you, all of you. I bow to you. Namaste. Please take care. Hari Om. See you in the next session. Bye bye.